We're just trying to win the day. We're just trying to win the day. When it's a struggle, we just want to get through the day. We just want to survive. We want to make sure the kids don't tear each other's arms off. We want to make sure that we got some food in the fridge. We want to make sure the business isn't falling apart. We want to do all we can to care for other people. And however, I want you to recognize a couple concepts today I'm going to teach you about. And you need to always be highly alert to them to have a conscious and deliberate and high-performing life. I really want you to get this. I really want you to tune into these distinctions because I want you to check in right now. I want you to check in where we're at, and then we're going to build towards the future. This first idea, when you go into protection, when you go into caretaking, when you go into managing the energy of everybody else and just hoping to make it through the day, what happens is enough days of that and disconnection from the future, this dichotomy starts happening, this challenge, this thing here. Dread versus excitement. Even great leaders can start to feel dread about the day. Ugh, now I'm gonna have to go manage more complaints from other people. Ugh, I'm gonna have to manage the attitude of my snarky husband. Ugh, I'm gonna have to deal with that grumpy person over here. Ugh, I gotta answer all those emails. Ugh. So even in the context of abundance, joy, the good positive energy you can have, when every day can start to feel a little Groundhog Day, it can start to feel like dread. Even Bill Murray, one of the most fun people on the planet in Groundhog's Day, starts to have dread. And I want you to be attentive to your energy over these last 7 days. How many days did you feel a little bit of dread? And I want to share with you, it's okay because you might not have been aware of that dread. It's not about your life. The dread's not about the kids. It's not about the husband. The dread's not about your health. The dread that comes, that existential dilemma that comes in times of turmoil, is actually not anything happening right now. It's a disconnection from the future. Sometimes we get it wrong. We think everything around us is wrong. Actually, we just don't have a connection. We don't have something to be excited about. When we don't have something to be excited about, when we don't have that compelling future, that thing to look forward to, that thing to celebrate, that thing to be excited about, the week, the day feels like a slog, even when it's good. Even when it's good. You got a good husband. You got a good job. You got some money coming in from the business. You got good opportunities. But in times of crisis, when it feels like a slog, when there's dread there, it's not that the opportunities or the husband or the kids or the house is wrong. Sometimes you lost connection with what to look forward to. And that was the missing thing. That was the piece of psychology. I mean, I know, because I've talked with many of you, and we've been doing these lives. I know that sometimes you're just dealing with the stuff right now. And so how are we going to win the year? Today's a pivot. Today, you are going to design back into your weeks, back into your months, and back by the end of this year, you are going to design into your days on purpose, visualization of the future every day. Visualization of the future every single day. Just as you might meditate every day, I want to turn that into a purposeful, deliberate visualization of something that you are excited about, you are thrilled about, you can't wait to happen. I don't care if it's next week. I don't care if it's a big thing or a small thing. I don't care if it's December 31st, 2020. We've got to find those things. And we need more of them than you have been granting yourself in the last 60 days. Many of you have not granted yourself anything to be excited about in the last 60 days. It was more like, God, I got to figure out how to work out here now at home. That kind of sucks. And oh, I got to figure out this homeschool thing. That kind of sucks. And I got to figure out how to deal with this grumpy spouse. That kind of sucks. And there's all this, that's life. You know, you're dealing with these things. And you're like, and dread. We need to build in excitement. We need to build in anticipation, optimism, thrill, adventure. We need to build those things back in. That's how you are going to win this year. You're going to make a pivot right now to institute a new protocol of daily connection with the future. That's your new protocol. Daily connection. Not just listen, this is different than just writing a goal down. No, I want you to see it, feel it, think about it, dream it, visualize it, see it, and build in every single day or week or month the win, the reward, that thing to celebrate. Now, this can happen on small terms and big terms. Let me give you some examples. Well, some of you just had that, right? You had some of you who looked forward to Cinco de Mayo like crazy. Okay, let me tell you about a little win we had this week, Cinco de Mayo, down here in Puerto Rico. We've been locked in for so long, and a local store, a local restaurant said, you know what? We're going to put together a Cinco de Mayo offer for our community. You can come over here and you can pick up a huge tray of tacos and a whole glass bottle of margarita. I will tell you, you thought this place just won 54 NBA championships, 74 Super Bowls, and 100 lotteries all in the same moment. When that email went out and this community got that, it was like, ah! The whole place was but something to look forward to. We don't have to cook. We can go pick up stuff because I'm not in a place where there's a lot of stuff that delivers to your door. So Denise has been cooking, and we've been home, and also we get to go get some stuff, come back home and celebrate, have a margarita. Simple win. We look forward to that for 3 days. Simple. Not a big thing. Not a big thing. But maybe all week you could talk about how with the kids, hey, on Saturday, we're going to go to the park. What toys should we bring? Let's bring a picnic. What would you like us to bring in the picnic basket? Oh, when we go to the park, how long do you want to stay at the park? What games do you want to play at the park? These conversations of anticipation, it's got to be built in. And listen, I know the mistake sometimes is we'll go, well, Brendon, let's wait and see how things turn out. Oh, yeah, okay, I like this idea, Brendon. Let me plan for October. Let me plan for November. No, this week, the next 7 days was something you can look forward to. And don't wait for it to hopefully happen. Build it in. You got to build in the rewards, the vibrancy, the adventure, the fulfillment, the daily connection of conversation with your spouse, with your partner about something coming up. Even in moments of delay. I'll give another simple example. When we came to Puerto Rico, and my dream, as many of you guys know, or I know some of you are new to the community, but since I was a teenager, I wanted to live in the Caribbean. I had that dream of living on a white sandy beach with some palm trees, riding, overlooking the ocean, taking daily walks on the beach, running on the beach, swimming in the ocean. I wanted that my whole life. I thought maybe one day I'll get to a point and I'll retire down in the Caribbean somewhere. Because I thought you had to leave the country and I thought you had to go down there. It's like, well, Puerto Rico's a US territory, so we didn't have to give up a passport. We still under the same federal guidelines and laws. And I thought, okay, you know what? I came down here. I fell in love with the place. Well, we've been down here for 2 years. And we've been trying to figure out, well, where do we live? What's our vibe and what do we want? Long story short, there was a new development being built. And Denise and I decided, okay, let's get on that. It was new construction. It was a new building going to be built. And so we purchased. And as you can imagine, it takes a long time to get things done in the Caribbean. And so we've been waiting. And then the pandemic hits. And in the meantime, we've been renting places, trying to figure out where we're going to live and waiting for this new construction to finish. Well, of course, construction completely comes to a halt on non-essential things like new construction down here. And so for the last 60 plus days, there's been no construction on our future home. And so it's like we're not living where we want, and we're just kind of, we're waiting it out. And yet, instead of having that as a sense of dread, Denise goes into, planning mode. Now, we don't know when we're going to get there, but we can still plan. So she's already designed every single room. She's already shown me the layouts and everything. Been still moving forward, the pieces that you can, ordering this, getting that light, getting that fan, doing things. And same thing, listen, how many of you had a trip or a vacation cancel? Anyone? Yeah, you had something you were looking forward to, you had to cancel it. You know, we were looking forward to going to a certain foreign country this year and had to cancel. But guess what? We can still go, okay, we don't know, we're going to do that in September now? Is that going to happen October? We don't have a date, but guess what we can still do? Well, when we get there, what are we going to do when we get there? So we're still researching, what are the cool activities we'll do when we go there? What are the adventures we'll have when we go there? Who might we get to invite when we go there? We don't know the date, but the trip is visual. It's real. We know things we're going to do there. And that is a post into the future that we can look forward to, talk, discuss, dream of. It can be that simple. It can be that simple. It can be a place you're going to go, a family outing. But here's what I want to know. Listen, the difference between what I'm talking about, this is not hope and inspiration. This is coaching you to sit down today with a calendar and every single week build something in that you can look forward to and talk to with your spouse, your partner, your family, your team. Build it in, talk about it, discuss it, get excited about it. That's what you got to do. It's tactical. It's every day. I want you to sit there. You know, for me, it's when I wake up in the morning. When I wake up in the morning, I lay in bed for an extra couple minutes and I just visualize and think about things I'm excited about, think about the future, think about things I don't even know how it's going to happen. You know, we're working on a documentary. I have no idea when that's going to get done. No idea when it's going to come out. But I sit there and I imagine scenes that might be in it, conversations might be in it, places we might air it. Just sit and dream about it. I don't get attached to, does it turn out exactly as how I want it? No. That's called flexibility, babes. That's adaptability, my friends. That's your ability as a high performer to pivot, to make things happen, to manifest. You can do that. But manifestation comes after visualization. And if you're not manifesting what you're wanting, and if you're not manifesting the energy that you want in your life, I promise there's a disconnection with the future. And it's not because the future doesn't hold promises for you. It's because you haven't made the plans for the future, because you're scared they won't come true. I want you to visualize a bigger future for yourself than you ever have before. Not because it's disconnected of the reality of the pandemic right now, but because you have a choice. And it's right here on this card. If you're going through the motions, dread will be there. If you're not visualizing the future, dread will be there. Even if you have good things in the world and you got to do them every single day, dread will be there. But if you build in excitement, and you got to figure out what that means for you psychologically. You got to figure out what that means for you, your family, your spouse, psychologically, emotionally, spiritually. You got to know the answers. I don't know the answers. My job as your coach is give you that prompt, beg you, cajole you, cheer you on, give you that impetus to say, ooh, how do I build excitement back in? Because dang it, I've been in too much protection zone, Brendon. You're dang right. I've been a little bit myopic focused right now to handle things, which is good. But listen, I talked to a friend last night who lost everything. Laid off 30 employees, been building his dream for 17 plus years, lost the business. Lost the business in this. The dread was there. The dread was there. It was real. Day before that, dear friend of mine lost a family member to coronavirus. The dread was there. The grief was there. Both people had to cope. Both people had that feeling of, oh my gosh. So when I talk about visualization, manifestations, and hopes and dreams, I don't do it disconnected from reality. I say, if we don't touch base with that future, if we can't see ourselves moving on when we lose family, if we can't see ourselves rebuilding, if we can't see ourselves with a better future, then what's it going to feel like? And who owns the fact that it feels like that? because we have that choice. Sometimes we just forget the choice, and we forget the ability to build that excitement in, because even in the person who lost family members, they could start thinking about how are we going to honor this person? When things come around, when we can get together to celebrate this person's life, how are we going to get together to celebrate this person's life? Let's do that. Let's get together and celebrate this person's life. How can we build things, create things, share things together to celebrate this person's life? Oh, I lost my job. Oh, I lost my business. Okay. What can I be excited about starting anew? Because now there's all this white space. What can I learn? I wanted to learn these things. For years, I've wanted to do these specific things. And let me try them now. Let me get excited about those things. I'm not saying that the loss isn't there. And I'm not saying detach from the loss, be unaware, try to stuff it down. I'm saying that can be there, and excitement and adventure and joy. The human being is capable of holding extraordinary amounts of emotion, extraordinary ability to expand and feel. Like there's this myth that you can't be, angry and grateful at the same time. I'm like, oh, that person has never studied emotion. Ever. That's not true. It's not true. It's a nice thought, and it reminds us of a dichotomy, of a choice that we get to make. But we can simultaneously, emotions and feelings, because they do linger, sure you can. Absolutely. I can be grateful that I had my father and mad in the same instant that he's dead. Sad that he's gone. I can be grateful for an opportunity and sad that I'm not capable, ready for it yet. It's okay. We are immense inside. What I'm saying is, it's okay if you feel vulnerable or sad or lost, or you're struggling with capability and coping. And that is also, though, why I encourage you to build in those touch points with the future. There is no way, not a single one of you, that I could not emphasize this enough with. I could do 4 more hours on this topic, but the most important thing I can share with you right now is your reorientation must shift now back to the future. Today, I want to start with what we promise in Growth Day and what we talk about in Growth Day, because we have 3 big themes that we're always working towards in Growth Day. It's this framework that I teach that I believe is really the drives that we're all after. This is something that we are going to work on together all year. Everybody wants these 3 things. We all want aliveness, connection, and meaningful pursuits. And these are things that I promise, after you make your next $10,000 or $100,000, or you have your next child, or you move to that dream place, or you get that perfect job, or you start that new business, no matter how busy you get or how successful you get, these 3 things never go away. Our sense of aliveness is our sense of being. Our sense of aliveness is that thing that we all want: enthusiasm, zest, pop, joy, emotional vitality, right? Vibrancy, full presence. That sense of aliveness each day, where we feel the day, where we bring the joy. These are themes. So here's what I have to ask you. What could you do this month to feel more alive? What could it be this month? Maybe it's you get your family together on Zoom once a week, just to feel like a sense of joy if you like your family. If you don't, maybe you go take an adventure. Maybe you do more of your art. Maybe you do that creative endeavor again. You go out in the garage and you build the thing. Maybe you try something new, you challenge yourself. But also, please know, what's the other side of aliveness? Well, deadness. So is there anything that's in your life that you're just like, that shouldn't be in my life? It drains your life. An obligation, a task that you can outsource or help get some assistance with. Is there something that is just draining your energy, your good energy? If it's a person, a place, a thing, what is it? Let's think about it. Okay, the last 30 days, the last 60 days, here in 2021, is there anything that has stolen your sense of aliveness? What is it? And how can you change that thing, alter that thing, outsource that thing, quit that thing? I mean, you want to feel more alive. You got to get rid of things that don't make you feel that way, but not you have to do it in a responsible manner. We got to find what makes us feel alive. Maybe comedy makes you feel alive. Maybe you need to dance more. Maybe it's time you put on some music around the house. Whatever you got to do to feel more alive, that's got to be a focus of this month. Our theme is focus. What should be our focus? How alive we feel, how present we feel, how vibrant and healthy we feel. These are things that you should plan for. These are things that you should plan for. The second thing you see there is connection. We all want connection with ourselves, the world, other people. Specifically, after we've had everything, we want a deeper connection with self and others, right? What is that relationship that you need to improve with yourself or others or your God or your creator? What is that relationship that you could go deeper on? As an example, some of you, you should set your relationship goals on the first of the month, right? So what are your relationship goals for this month? What's your relationship goal for your spouse or your relationship goal with your son or your daughter? What's your relationship goal with your key team members? So what are some goals you could set to deepen connections with your customers, your clients, your friends, your family, your loved ones, your spouse, the kids? Like, really think about that. Last up, but certainly not least, is these meaningful pursuits. We all want a sense of meaning, satisfaction, and engagement in pursuing something, in progressing towards something, in achieving or contributing or creating something. These are your creation goals or your contribution goals, right? Your meaningful pursuits. It's your artistic endeavor. It's your hobby. It's your passion. It's your purpose. It's your mission. Whatever it is, it's something you draw meaning from just by being in the hunt, just by engaging or doing the thing. So what are you going to do this month that you're going to find meaningful, satisfying, fulfilling? And again, what are the things you got to get rid of? They're just not tasks that you find meaningful, fulfilling, satisfying, engaging. So let's talk about focus now. So if we set our goals each month around aliveness, around connection, around meaningful pursuits, and we think about how we want to grow into those things, let's figure this out. Your focus at any given time is based on what I call 3 states of mind. And these 3 states of mind are where your mind is going at any given time. Consciously or unconsciously, very few people are aware of it. But once you become aware of it, you realize how you can regain your focus. For the most part of our unconscious life, especially as we're young and striving to build something and we're not familiar with personal development, and we're just kind of going through the motions, our mind, our mental chatter, a lot of our unconscious thoughts are built on protecting ourselves. Our thoughts are protectionist, right? You all call this survival mode. Your mind has that, part of our evolutionary history that is very focused on protecting ourselves. And we protect ourselves not just physically, but we protect ourselves emotionally and mentally. And so what does this have to do with focus? A lot of people's focus, without them even being aware of their consciousness yet, a lot of their focus is always on worry, on protecting ego, on, fear-based thinking. All of these thoughts, this mental chatter, is to protect oneself or one's things or one's relationships or one's standing and identity in the world. I need to protect my status, my ego, and my standing in this community, right? I'm embarrassed to be seen starting small because I need to protect the sense that I have strength and respect. We're protecting ourselves a lot. Why do I bring this up? Well, we're in March. You had January, you had your big vision, New Year's goal session. We crushed it, January and February. You got these dreams out there. If you are not moving towards them swiftly with focus and discipline, it's because in your mind, it's saying, be careful. Don't go too fast. What if they don't like you? What if it doesn't work out? And in the way that you're protecting mindset, it always almost is this internal state of thought that says, what if followed by a negative statement? What if it doesn't go well? What if I don't know what I'm doing? What if they judge me? What if there's ruin? What if there's regret? What if there's disaster? What if it was better over there and I wasted my time? What if I choose the wrong thing? That's the protecting mind. And sometimes when we don't have the focus we want during the day, it's because we're scared all the time. You know why a lot of people lack discipline? Not because they don't have things they want. It's because it's easier not to do something when you're scared. It's because it's easier not to do something when all your thoughts are saying, what if this doesn't turn out? Well, let me just disengage. It's not that you as a human lack the character trait of discipline and hard work or commitment. It's that your thoughts are betraying you. Your thoughts are on this merry-go-round of doubt. You follow? And that doubt sounds like protective thinking, protecting the ego, the sense of security, protecting who we feel like we should be or are, protecting our current bank account, protecting our current, progress. And I'm not here to say protecting thoughts are bad. I'm here to contextualize our conversation today about focus and discipline and drive. So if you feel like you lack focus, you probably have a lot of fear. If you feel like you lack discipline, you have a lot of doubts. If you feel like you lack drive, you have a lot of discouragement because every time you try something, the brain goes, well, I look stupid, I better quit. This ain't working. What if it gets worse? What if it never turns out? What if, followed by a negative statement, is how our mind can trick us from being focused, disciplined, and driven. Now listen, thank God our mind has that mental chatter of protecting. It's the thing that keeps you out of going down strange places where your intuition is saying, hey, don't go there. It's what helps you protect yourself in times of crises. It activates the part of you that reacts swiftly and carefully to protect your physical being, right? It's survival mode. Sometimes survival mode is needed when you're in real threat. But I can also share with you, I thought my plane was going to crash. And I didn't allow my brain to go into threat. I heard it go there, and I said, let me choose a different thought pattern right now. Let me turn my focus to something useful. If I'm, and you all, I hope this doesn't sound metaphorical because this is real. If that plane is going to go down when I'm in it, I don't want my last minute or two to be focused on the terror of it. I grab my thoughts back and I start praying and giving appreciation for this incredibly blessed life. I start asking for my family and my friends to know I lived a happy life, for them to continue living a happy and a great life, even if I'm not here. I want to be intentional with that last minute or 2 or 3 minutes. Even though my amygdala is going, holy crap, this plane, the smell, that's still there. But what I'm trying to encourage you is with enough time in personal development, you can override the protectionist things that take away from the experiences that you want in life. We can teach our brain. We can override those things with enough time. I'm not here to say it's easy. I'm here to say it's required for a good life. That's the difference. I don't care if it's easy. I just go crazy when people say, well, Brendon, that sounds hard, or it's easy for you. I'm like, oh, ease is not the goal. Progress is. Ease is not the goal. Consciousness is. I'm not worried about making it easy on you. I'm here to say these are the requirements of a good life. What else? Where else is our brain often? Well, often in our day-to-day, we're actually more in what I call a processing mind, right? A processing mind. What does that mean? Well, a processing mind means it's your thinking mind. right? It's your thinking mind. So what is that? Well, it's you just ruminating on things, thinking through things. Why did she do that? Why do I feel this way? What's next? What do I need? What am I learning here? Why did that thing happen? It's the questioning, inquisitive, curious mind that's just chugging along. It's just going. And that inquisitive mind is wondering how things are going to turn out, or it's wondering what's next, or it's wondering, but here's something to know. Here's something to know. This is also where analysis paralysis happens. We got any overthinkers out here? Anyone? It's thinking and thinking and thinking and thinking and thinking, studying and studying and studying, but not always taking action. Just like you're stuck in processing all the time. Or some of you, something happened last week and you're still thinking about it. It's gone. It should be let go. It should be forgiven. It shouldn't be on your mental dashboard today. You got missions to serve, people to serve, things to do today, but you're still thinking about something that happened. I was in an emergency plane ride on Tuesday. I'm not feeling it or thinking about it today other than to share a lesson with you. It's not like I woke up today thinking about it. No, instead I said, well, that's not going to be useful. Me processing that a million times and running it over and over in my mind, what is that going to achieve? Okay, it happened. Cool. What's the lesson? Great. Move on. And this is so important. Some of you are still feeling the same anger and emotion about something that happened a decade ago. And it's stealing from your aliveness. It's stealing from your connection with other people. It's stealing from your sense of meaning and joy. And you got to get a hold of that. If you got divorced 10 years ago and you're still processing it, get a therapist. And I mean that with not judgment, with joy, to recommend professionals to you. If you're still processing something that happened when you were in high school, when she broke up with you or that person, and that negative thinking or that negative emotional reality is still here with you decades later, raise your hand and be proud about asking for help and getting a professional person to help you work through that. I'm not here to say that we should all be able to get over things quickly. If you've ever studied my work, you recognize I don't lack empathy or intelligence around how the brain works. I get it, right? I've spent my life in human behavior change. I understand it takes time. I understand it needs support. I understand sometimes you don't even know what's going on. And that's why you might need a coach or a therapist, or to at least even voice it for the very first time to your friends, your family, your community. But if you're still processing over and over, replaying things from the past over and over and over again in a way that's limiting your sense of aliveness, connection, or meaningful pursuits, it's time to deal with that thing, right? Sometimes the most powerful thing in processing is to close it down. What do I mean by that? Okay, that situation, I didn't like it, period. Didn't like it, learn from it, period. And not drag all those emotions into today, not drag all that feeling into today, right? And I'm not here to offer therapeutic advice to you. I'm a coach. But what I'm here to suggest to you is that be aware of where are you stuck on something? Where are you just in forever processing, thinking, ruminating? Because that can also spin your mind into equal deficit as much as protecting. And all of a sudden it's just like, ugh. And what I want to encourage you to do, even in those experiences, at some point, we got to shift the mind into progressing. Progressing. Okay, what's the next right action of integrity for me? What's the next thing I can do to move the ball forward? What's the next thing I can say to myself to release the past and get on with it, right? Sometimes we have to interrupt the thoughts and say, okay, what's next? Let me get this old clunky brain here into motion again. And that's what's going to give you the aliveness and the connection and the progress towards those meaningful pursuits. It's like you got to take hold of mine and go, okay, what's the next right action of integrity? Like, let me switch my gears. That's why I have to fill out my high performance planner every morning, because my mind, I'm a nutty professor. I will be in processing and thinking and analytical all day. I will. I have to go, Brendon, okay, action, progress, move it forward. Otherwise, you know what? Without progress, the mind goes a little batty. It gets restless. It gets frustrated. Now you get discouraged and sad and upset. But we need a little bit of that progress to sense that momentum, and that momentum gives us more confidence. That confidence gives us more competence. Those senses give us a little more mastery and engagement of the day. But guess what? Some of you, you're in progress mode all the time. And your family's like, can you take a minute to just eat your food? Can you just chill out for 5 minutes to be with your child? Can you just relax one night? Can you just not work till X amount? Or could you please stop putting in the 100-hour work week? Like, sometimes when you're in just action, progress mode, we're in trouble. So all of these things, I hope you hear me saying examples of good and bad, right? Protecting can be good. Processing can be good. Progress can be good. But they can also equally have their negative flip side, right? If you progress, if you're always progress, go, and you don't take care of yourself, we're in trouble. So I'm hoping to draw this out to say your focus is in one of these three buckets. Sometimes it's all simultaneous. Sometimes it's one focus. Some of you live a life in one of these buckets. Does that make sense? Maybe it's like you might go, some of you, I can identify a year or 2 or 10 years where you were just in one of these things and you never made that shift. Okay, let's go. Growth Day. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Congratulations, you're working on your personal growth and wellness today. I welcome you to today's session on advanced wellness strategies for home and work. What an unbelievable topic, right? The timing is perfect because some of you, like me, you may have spent yourself and your year in a little bit of, in a little bit of a quarantine in a new place, and you're trying to do your job, manage the stress, the obligations that you have with the kids or the family or the business, try to find that sense of happiness and joy and creativity in life. But it's also a really difficult time sometimes to do all of that when the world is in total chaos and turmoil, when multi-billion-dollar companies are trying to steal your attention and compare you to other people. And so today's topic, I think you're going to find not only timely, but something that will help holistically address so many of the challenges we all face in living a vibrant, a connected, and a meaningful life. If you're new to Growth Day, you might not know that I always kind of talk about this triangle, and this triangle that what we're all really after, after we have some security or a roof over our head or some food in the pantry is, we all want a sense of aliveness. We want that joy, that enthusiasm, that sense, that joie de vivre. We all want connection. And that connection is your relationships and how you feel connected to other people, connected to your family, connected to even yourself. We want meaningful pursuits, the ability to do things that matter to us, that draw our interest or our passion or our obsession or enthusiasm. And right in the middle of that old triangle, growth, which is what we are here to do today. This topic, man, I'm so happy to see so many of you here right now. This is awesome. I'm just so excited to see you guys here because this topic, a lot of people get wrong. I'm going to start with a simple statement. I'll tell you what we're going to do here today, especially for those who are new. I'm going to start with a very simple statement. I know when I talk about wellness, often people separate wellness in this little category. Oh, that means health, or that's nutrition, or that's meditation. And they kind of feel like, oh, I'll get there. One day I'll be healthy. And I'm always telling people, wellness is not separate from your work day. Wellness is not separate from your life. Wellness is not something you do once in a while or you have once in a while. wellness is your experience of life. Wellness is your experience of life in this moment. It was your experience of life this morning. It's your experience of life the last week or last 2 weeks. It's not this little thing over there that once in a while you have your kale shake, or you have, your keto diet, or you get to that gym, once, 3-4 times a week. Those are practices. And I'm going to share with you tons of practices today that I know you will love. But wellness is our experience of life. And when we can look at it that way, things start to really shift in, once in a while I do wellness versus how am I being, feeling, and experiencing life. That's how I think of like my wellness practices, or when I teach wellness to corporations, or I teach it to you guys in our high performance work. It's always more of a holistic approach, because I really believe we want to feel. We want to feel the day. If something is off in your life, it's because you don't feel like you're feeling the day with the emotions and the energy that you want behind it. So today, I've got all my cards to share with you today, some advanced practices that have really served me, but also the mindset of wellness, the experience of wellness. What does that look like? And I know, listen, as soon as you start talking about wellness, people often say, well, is this about losing weight? Or is he going to tell me I'm too fat? Is he going to tell me I need to get off the couch or stop eating, the Cheetos? I promise this is not a preaching session. This is a session hopefully meeting you where you're at. And I've always had to do that in my private coaching with our clients. I have to do that with you guys as our students. I have to do that with myself. There's different times in your life where wellness feels different and looks different. Sometimes when you're youthful and young and you just felt awesome all the time, it didn't matter if you pound down like 7 tacos and 4 beers in one night. Okay, well, maybe it did, but you could get away with that the next 2 days because your classes didn't start till 11 a.m. Or, you had times in your life where you could get away with bad energy. You had times in your life where the energy was more abundant because that age or that health state that you were in at that time. But you and I both know there's sometimes it ain't so good. It's like you're trying everything and you feel like crap and you don't know why. You're doing what they say. You got your yoga mat, you're following this wellness person, you're doing your Headspace or your Calm or your tapping solution app. You're doing all the things, but you still feel like crap and you don't know why. That is the challenge of the wellness journey. I certainly know that. Many of you guys have been with me for a long time. I've been blessed to teach personal development now, essentially for 25 years, only full-time for the last, 17 years. And, full-time the last 15 years. And in that journey, I've had to be on stage teaching to hundreds or thousands of people who paid a lot of money to be there. And I would feel like crap backstage. I was tired. I was fatigued. I didn't feel my body right. I was stressed from business. I was stressed from family and the finances and all the obligations that felt on my shoulders. There's been times just like you when you're in that roaring stage of your career where things are going great, but you don't feel great. There's also been times, many of you guys were with me in 2011 when I had my brain injury. And that took me on a whole new wellness journey. Because at that point, I was a high performance guy. I had really gotten my mind, my body, and my spirit, my work and family. I'd gotten kind of like in alignment, if you will. I was in the zone for a series of years. I was feeling good. And then on a trip with some friends, I wrecked an ATV, a four-wheeler. And I rolled several times and I snapped my wrist off, broke my ribs, threw out my hip, my shoulder, and ended up with a traumatic brain injury. And that opened a whole new world of learning for me to understand my brain and to heal my physical body. I know many of you have been through those situations, and many of you right now, you're dealing with sickness in your life or your family. You're dealing with, an optimized, a non-optimized body, and you just feel awful. Or you recently got hurt or sick, and listen, recovering from that, that's real. And so we'll talk about some of those recovery routines. We'll talk about some of those new ways to think about your mind, your body, your brain, your spirit. Today's a good discussion. It's a really good discussion. We're going to start with the most simple thing I want you to write in your journal and fill out, which is this. Wellness to me is ... What does wellness mean to you? You know, whenever I teach a topic, I always encourage the audience, like, define it for yourself. Because if you don't define it for yourself, how are you ever going to align with it, achieve it, manifest it? You know, some people say, I want to be successful, Brendon. I'm like, what does that mean? They're like, I don't know. Money? You know, it's like, what does it mean to be successful or confident? You have to define those things. What does happiness mean to you? We'll talk about that today. But wellness, what does it mean to you? I really want you to think about it. What does wellness mean to you? When you have full or holistic wellness, what does that look like? What does that feel like? Maybe what you can do in your journal right now is just wellness to me is, and then just write down some words that come up to you. Wellness to me is what? Just write down one word. Wellness to me is health, fitness, resilience, peace, purpose, happiness, aliveness. What is it for you? Just take a moment right now. I'm going to walk you through my personal definition of this and then share some ideas that maybe you can put into play in your home, in your work life. So wellness to me is, here are my keywords and my practices. Number one, wellness to me is happiness. If I don't feel happy on a consistent basis, I know I'm not on my A game in terms of my wellness practices. To me, they go hand in hand. Wellness and happiness. They're not separate. They're not different. They are the same thing in many ways. If I'm not happy, I know my wellness practices are off. So let's talk about some of these ideas for happiness. Okay, for me, the first thing of my wellness practice and what makes me a happy dude. Like if you met me, you'd be like, God, that guy is annoyingly happy a lot. If you've been to my seminars before and you see me go for 4 days, 9 hours a day often on stage by myself, people are like, how does he have that much energy? It's because I have the ultimate secret to happiness. And we have the ultimate secret to happiness. I'm telling you, you feel well. So what is my ultimate secret to happiness? The first thing is having reverence for life. And then practices that make me feel that, So many of you know, 25 years ago, this month, 25 years ago, this month, I had the car accident that made me, as a young man, finally appreciate life and really want to live it and explore it and feel it and love it and connect with people. I was a broken down, super sad, unwell young man who was depressed and suicidal. And then the car accident knocked some sense in my head, and in my head, it made me realize I want to live this life. I don't want to take my life. From that day forward, for the last 25 years, I can tell you, I have felt happy every single day for 25 years. And my unfair advantage of that isn't because I have this perfect life and nothing bad ever happens, OMG, you know, it's because I make myself feel happy every day by reminding myself of the blessing of this life. So those practices, what does that look like? Well, it's simple practices of, in the morning, Wayne Dyer taught me, wake up, swing your legs over, put your feet on the ground, say thank you, thank you, thank you. Another day alive, another day alive. Another opportunity to change, another day to grow. Thank you for this opportunity to serve today. Let me live this day with intention and focus and joy. Oh, please allow me to feel the sense of aliveness. And I just start the morning with a sense of joy and luck and honor and privilege to be alive, to have the breath. I would say, if you have reverence for life, everything else feels and looks good. When you forget the gratitude of the extraordinary blessing and the incomprehensible unlikeliness of your survival in life right now, the odds of the universe of you being here, this little speck amongst the cosmos, is so profound that when you have deep reverence, which is respect, honor, appreciation, a sense of humility and thankfulness that you are alive, everything else flows from that. People are like, you're so vibrant. I'm like, have you ever seen my mom? If you ever met my mom, she is so happy to meet you. She is so happy to be alive. She's had perspective. She's been in a war. She grew up in war in Vietnam. She was the child of a soldier who was lost. So she was in a child recovery program. She was shipped to another country where she didn't know anyone and didn't want to live, separated from her family. She had to immigrate to the United States under dire conditions. She met her first husband, who was not good and was abusive. She went out and struck out on her own. She eventually met my father, who'd also been through huge difficulties in his life, growing up super poor and having just spent multiple years, 3 tours in Vietnam, and got all shot up over there. My parents were happy people. They didn't have a lot, but they were grateful for life because they saw people die. They were grateful for life, and that reverence was something that was just palpable in my household. And I know I was lucky for that. A lot of people didn't luck out on getting great parents. I had good examples to that. And that was good. But like I said, later on, I became depressed because sometimes, you know, when you don't have good relationships, which we'll talk about in wellness, it's hard to be happy, even if you know you should. But I tell people all the time, if the umbrella of reverence for life is not there, if a deep gratitude, appreciation, and thankfulness for whatever you call it, for God, for life, for cosmos, for universe, for dang crazy genetic luck that you emerged and have life, if you don't have that, I promise your wellness journey will never feel vibrant. I promise you can eat all the energy, foods and supplements. You can, take care of yourself. I know a lot of people who are super fit and healthy and miserable because they don't appreciate their life. They don't keep perspective that this journey is going to end super quick for them and all of us. And so wellness and the real journey to wellness begins with reverence for life, deep gratitude, deep thankfulness, deep humility and honor for life. That's my ultimate secret. Like, how are you so happy? I'm like, I ain't dead. If you're alive, oh my gosh, and you can feel that, then you can tune into your breath and feel the sensations around your body. If you can sense and feel throughout the day, all of your senses, and take in the wonders of the world, even if it's like a concrete city, or you're out on, I happen to be on the beach, or I grew up in the mountains, or I can get outside and see some nature, or I can just remind myself of how big this earth is and how lucky I am to be one of the 7+ billion people. It's impossible to fathom your blessings. And I know when you say that to people in today's world, they're like, oh, sure, you can say that because you're privileged. You can say that because you're lucky. You can say that because you made your dreams, or you have money, or you are this, or you are that. And what they're doing is they're casting out to the world their perspective that says, you don't understand me. So all those things you have, it's unfair. And that's a real quick way to feel miserable, which leads me to my second point, happiness. What are my happiness practices? Well, when I told you, I wake up, I feel reverence to life. I pray, I meditate throughout the day, and those little simple check-ins of appreciation to God. It might be your gratitude journal. At the end of the night, you log into GrowthDay, you type in your journal, all the things you are grateful for. You must consistently, and every single day, you must capture the sense of joy, the moments that mattered, the little things and events that made you grateful or appreciative, if you don't capture them, you don't feel them. And what happens is your attention goes to everything else. So my first practice of wellness is reminding myself to be happy that I am alive. But the second one I was talking about, where it's easy for people to cast and go, oh, you're so lucky, or you're so privileged. And by the way, we all are. That's part of reverence for life. I'm like, when people are like, you're so lucky, I'm like, yeah, totally. Well, you don't understand. I've been through this. I'm like, I don't understand. I haven't been through that. Tell me about it. I really believe we can learn from one another. We can understand one another's pain. We can explore relationships and conversations of empathy and compassion. And that's a practice in recognizing where people are unhappy and where they are angry, and recognizing that that's okay too. And sometimes when we're most angry, we're out of our reverence for life. When we're most upset, we're out of our gratitude. When we hate on other people, we lost perspective of the uniqueness of this oneness journey we're all on, where we got to breathe this morning.
Here we go, my friends. Hey, it's Brendon Burchard. We're going to dive deep into how do you gain some more emotional mastery in your life so you can handle those difficult times when you get frustrated, when you get down, we get like beat up and like chewed out and spit out by the world. What are you going to do to be your best self? That is the topic of today's conversation. That emotional masteries part, that emotional intelligence we hear so much about, that ability to handle the difficulties and challenges of life with grace or aplomb or being centered in the middle of all this chaos and turmoil. How do you be your best? That's the topic of today. We're talking about motivation at a deeper level maybe you haven't had with me before. The utmost, most important area of emotional mastery is mastering motivation. Now, when I say emotional mastery, you're like, wait, isn't motivation just a topic, an area? I'm like, no, motivation is an emotion, right? A motivation is a emotion that you feel a drive, a sense of hunger, a sense of want, and a sense of desire to make something happen. I believe motivation is one of the most important things we have to master in our total emotional sort of toolkit, right? Because if you can emotionally feel motivated every day, almost everything else can fall in line, right? If you're emotionally motivated to be a better mom, be a better caregiver, be a better parent, be a better lover, be a better entrepreneur, be a better business person, be a better contributor to the greater world, when there's a motivation pulling you forward, out of bed each day, into the office, into real life to be your best, then everything changes. When you lose motivation, you and I both know the loss of motivation is the first gate to suffering. You lose motivation. Now you don't feel like doing anything. You don't feel like doing anything, you don't work out. You don't feel like working out, you don't feel like doing anything. You don't feel like doing anything, you don't want to do your goals. Don't feel like doing your goals, feel unfulfilled. Feel unfulfilled, feel unsatisfied. Feel unsatisfied, feel like life is meaningless. It is a slippery slope when you lose motivation. But the issue is no one has motivation 24/7 all the time. Motivation is an emotion you learn to cultivate by using your mind, your body, your greater consciousness to ensure that you feel that pull of purpose. That you feel that energy inside that says, I want to create, I want to contribute, I want to be my best self, I want to connect with people. And so motivation is something we're going to have to generate on a consistent basis. I know many of you are at HPA and you hear me say, all the time, you have to learn to bring the joy, because the power plant doesn't have energy, it generates energy. Motivation is something the motivation guy, I have the best-selling book of the entire century with motivation in the title. It's called The Motivation Manifesto, if you haven't read it. And the Motivation Manifesto is like, if anything is imbued in that book, it is like this ferocity and this fierceness and this attention to living our best lives, but it has to be like generated. Because even though I'm the motivation guy, there's plenty of days I wake up and I'm like, blah. I don't feel like it. There's plenty of days, there's plenty of moments Or just like you, I'm just like, I'd rather be lazy and do nothing right now. And that's okay. That's part of homeostasis. That's part of our human body to want to power down, to relax, to chill out. But too much of that can lead to an unfulfilling life. So you must learn to generate the emotions of drive, desire, go-gettedness, whatever you want to call motivation. And so it's something that we have to learn to stoke. Motivation is an emotion we feel by either luck or by purposeful, conscious design. I just choose to design it into my day every single day. Motivation is driven by certain things. You have a spark, you have something that sustains it, and you have something that grows it. Okay? The spark of motivation, which is how I anchor into being motivated each day, is ambition. All motivation begins with the desire or hunger and ambition for more, whether that's more depth or more connection or more contribution or more abundance or more wealth or more love. Like, we just want more of something. And that says, I want to go get that. Like, we see a fancier car, it's better than our car, I want to go get that. We see like a deeper love of relationship between two people, I say, I want that in my own life. Sometimes it's a visual cue. Something we see makes us want something, right? Not too far from here, there's a beach that I strolled on vacation, I don't know, a couple years ago. And I said, I want to live here. And it was a motivation. It was a cue. I saw something, desired it, wanted it, went after it. Like, so sometimes it's a visual, it's a cue out in the world that says, I want more of that thing. And ambition can be visually cued. For some people, if you just wake up, I mean, think about it. You wake up, you grab your phone, you're like, you know, and all of a sudden you don't have any motivation. Instead, you look through all this stuff and all it did is make you feel like you're not enough, or it distracted you, or it upset you, or it created, anger or anxiousness. You got to be careful how you're using cues to start your day. I use cues to start my day motivated. And those cues to start my day motivated are things like, I literally wake up and I'll wake up and I'll think of things that I'm grateful for and that I want to give in life. I'll wake up and I'll think about someone I want to do something nice for or surprise today. I'll think of something I can be excited about today. I'll, as soon as possible in the morning, revisit my ambitions list, my goals list. I'll look at them. I'll not wander through the day looking at social media and then, I guess it's time to work and look at my goals. It's like my goals, in the first few minutes of the day, I'm revisiting them. And what I'm doing is when I'm looking at my goals or my agenda or my schedule, I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, okay, why do I want this? What would life be like this? How could I go get it? What should I do today to make that happen? And that motivates me. That's my list of goals, my list of ambitions, the things that can excite me. In other words, it's very intrinsic goals. It's intrinsic rewards that I'm after. I'm like, if I go do that, I will feel better. If I could have this, I'd be happier, right? It's not that I can't be happy with now, but I want to pull. Like, if I can have that future pull, that's going to motivate me to go do stuff, right? I have to literally generate that in my mind. And so when I have that connection in the morning, then my takeaway for you is connect with your ambitions every morning, very first thing in the morning. Somehow part of your morning routine, connect with your ambitions. Look at them. Why do you want them? What would you get from that? How would you feel from that? What would that generate? Why would life be more meaningful? Really connect with that ambition every single morning, and you'll start to notice you feel better. Because remember, if you were at HPA, if you've ever attended our event or our seminar, you also know this reality, that motivation wanes with attention. Meaning, if we don't give our ambitions, our goals, a lot of attention, the motivation just goes away. Because motivation is either fueled by our attention or by momentum, right? It either takes reflection or action to generate serious, sustained motivation. Either reflection or action. Because ultimately, from the reflection, that gives us clarity, and clarity can give us confidence. Or action can give us momentum. And when we have momentum, motivation is way easier to cultivate, generate, and sustain, obviously. So these are really important concepts. Every morning, get very close to your goals. Ambitiously. What are those things that you want, desire, need, and would enjoy, and what do you need to go to get it? That's the intrinsic type of things, the things we'll feel good about, that drive satisfaction, fulfillment, meaning, excitement in us. But I also have my extrinsic, meaning my external cues or goals or rewards that also I revisit. So for me, example, when I always tell you, wake up each day and at some point say, who needs me on my A game? For me, every morning, I re-anchor down into my relationships. I think about, okay, if I don't show up today and do a good job, then my wife and I have a lower quality of life. Then I can't support my mom. Then I can't support my team. Then all these people who count on me every day for motivation or count on me for leadership or count on me for support, they don't get that from me. And I tap into that reality that if I don't show up for somebody today, then you know what? By the end of the night, I'll feel worse about myself, but also it will impact other people. Because you cannot have real, high-powered mental motivation without a connection to other people. We are social animals, so we have to think about, okay, what should I do? How can I contribute in a way that serves other people? So where that internal one is about self and satisfaction and fulfillment and meaning personally, that's tapping into our own passions, desires, wants, and hungers. That external one is ultimately about service, about giving or taking care of or being the caretaker of other people. And you cannot just keep starting your day. I guess I'll get some coffee and read the news and see what's on social media or hop into the car and listen to trash talk radio or turn on the TV and hope to find motivation later in the day. Like you want to kick off the day with motivation. Like get already in the morning, immediately in a good state of mind. When I'm in a great state of mind, it's like, bam, the day goes. And you know what? If you start the morning in the right frame of mind, motivated, driven, because you're connected to what drives you and what will serve other people, then when you start like running out of gas at noon, 1, 2, or 3, it's easier to like re-spark that flame than to fuel that flame than to start a new fire. Right? Because some people just keep waiting. They don't even think about, I guess I should be motivated until they've lost it. I want you to start the morning with it and sustain it throughout the day by revisiting it. Remember, the secret to all of motivation is revisiting those whys. It's revisiting that ambition that you have for your life, for more, for others, for contribution. That's everything. Right? That's everything. And if you get away from that too many days, too many weeks, too many months, I'm just here to tell you, you're really going to struggle. So I hope that helps. Every morning, everybody, every single morning, I really want you to connect with that. Okay, what am I motivated? What am I driven by? And that's going to really, I can't explain how much that's going to help you. You will feel it and you will know it if you will do it every morning. Okay? Motivation starts in the morning, but it's also sustained by that morning frame of mind. So that's really key. That's the first idea behind motivation. Connect with your ambitions first thing every single day. Give attention to that every single day. Here's something I don't often talk about, but it's important for me because it's very easy for me to be really effective in the mornings. And then that afternoon, 2, 3 o'clock, and I can just be like, man, I want to go outside, take a walk, come back, turn on some Netflix, eat some carbs. You know, that can be my afternoon if I'm not careful. So here's what I do. I have a checkpoint in the mid-afternoon to recognize, reward, appreciate anything that I have done today. Anything that I have done today. And that midpoint checkpoint, for me on my phone, I just have an alarm. Mine tends to go off around 2:30 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. It just flashes to me and it says, what's been great today? What's been great today? And so that will cue me, all right, it's time to visit. What's been great today? So I'll just think about something I've done. It could be like, I answered 10 emails today that I have been avoiding. Good job. It could be as simple as, I made that one call, I said I was going to call, did it. I shot that content, created that thing, whatever. Some type, like, listen, motivation is often driven by recognition. So recognize what you have done so far in the day, early afternoon. Then what I do, in order to keep myself motivated even more, because I've set in my mind that I want to be a person who's excellence driven, what I will do is I say, okay, here's what's great so far. And then I ask just a simple question. How do I complete this day with excellence? Just a simple touch point in the afternoon. How do I complete this day with excellence? So I will look at the rest of the day, whether that's 2 hours more, 4 hours more, 5 hours more, 6 hours more, whatever it's going to be for me. And I go, okay, how do I think through the rest of this day with real excellence? And when I can connect with that, I'm telling you, it's just so part of me, and it really makes me want to serve. So please think about having a mid-afternoon connection point to keep yourself motivated. You'll feel a whole different quality of life come in. I promise it's just a different experience for people, because most people, they're just running and gunning through the day. They don't realize or understand or accept how challenging it is to lose motivation. And so many people, they've gone weeks without being motivated. They're going through the motions, but there's no energy. There's no emotional pull towards something better. And because they're lacking that emotional pull, what ends up happening? They dog it. They don't contribute as much. They react and sort of create, and all of a sudden a couple of weeks later, they're like, I don't know why I'm so unfulfilled. Well, no duh, you're so unfulfilled because you haven't been tapping into that emotion of motivation. When we lack motivation, it is a slippery slope to suffering. So please recognize that you must cultivate more motivation. What else can you do? Well, I'll tell you, it's like ambition, attention to those ambitions, effort towards those things. I think all of that is really, really, really clear. But I also really believe that a lot of motivation is simply lost because of fatigue. So let's say you're doing all those things, but you're wiped out. You're tired. Like, a lot of motivation really rests on how you feel physically. If you feel lethargic, you feel tired, you have the flu, it's harder to be more motivated. You can still do it by doing what I've talked about. Re-cue yourself, reconnect with those things. But health-wise, it's really critical for you to say, okay, if I want to be motivated long-term, I need to feel greater levels of mobility and energy in my body. So if you ever hung out around me, I'm constantly bouncing and moving and breathing. And if you've been with me at HPA, you see some of these practices, this breath work that I do, that I'm activating and opening up my body so that my body says, let's go, versus, right? So my body's not like, oh, I ate this terrible thing. Instead, my body says, I feel refueled. I feel ready to go. Let's go. So I manage my sleep, my diet, my health in ways that support my mental clarity and energy. And I know that, sometimes people think motivation is just a mental game. I'm like, yes, but your mind and your body are connected. If your body is lethargic, so is your mind, right? That brain-body connection is real, y'all. And I know you know that. You've been sick, you've been tired, there's times when you've been out of shape, you feel terrible. So I'm here to encourage you, as I always do. If every single month in high performance, I have to cheer you on to get in better health, to prioritize your health, to sleep good, to eat well, to move. If I have to do that every single month, I will do that. I will be your champion. I will cheer you on. I want you in excellent health this year. So please hear me cheer that on every single month, because I just know I get you in better health. I get you in better mental health. We get you in better mental health. It's easier to sustain that fire and that drive, that purpose, that motivation. That thing will bring you satisfaction, joy, and meaning. I know you guys get this, but I want to fire you up today. Like, this is something you must fire up on your own. This will be fleeting. Of course it's fleeting if you never look at it. I tell people all the time, no wonder you're not motivated. You haven't thought about what motivates you in 3 days. Just think about that. No wonder you're not motivated. You haven't thought about what motivates you in 3 days. Every morning, I'm a deep dive in what's going to motivate me. I get excited about it. I look at it, I'm like, okay, let's go. If I didn't do that, I need coffee.
This can be your day for personal growth. This can be that day you committed to and you remember and you go, that was the day I got myself a community. I got better coaches. I committed to making my life the absolute best that I could. This is that day. Make today your growth day. Click the button on this page and sign up right now.